Hey everyone! Today I'll be walking you through an Italian fantasy superhero film called The Invisible Boy. The story opens in Trieste, Italy, where we meet a shy teenager named Michel Silenzi. He's riding his bike to school with a 50 euro bill in his pocket, planning to use it to buy a costume for an upcoming party. At school, he sits behind his crush, Stella, but their class is soon interrupted by a visit from a police officer, Giovanna, who is also Michelle's adoptive mother. She's there to ask about a student who recently disappeared. She urges the class to report anything they know. After she leaves, Michelle has a nosebleed and heads to the bathroom. Unfortunately, his bullies corner him and force him to hand over all his money. Feeling defeated, he returns home, digs up a few coins he had stashed away, and decides to spend them on a costume anyway. He stops by an old, run-down shop where the owner offers him a tight-fitting bodysuit and a flimsy cape, supposedly belonging to a Chinese superhero. Though unimpressed, Michelle buys it. Later, at home, he puts the costume on but feels too ridiculous to attend the party. Giovanna encourages him, and he eventually decides to go. At the party, things seem to go well at first. He chats with Stella and enjoys himself. But his bullies strike again, showing a video of Stella that they claim was secretly recorded by Michelle. Humiliated and devastated, he locks himself in the bathroom. As the other kids pound on the door, Michelle angrily wishes he could just vanish. And right then, the lights flicker and go out. Michelle escapes through the window and hurries home. The next morning, he notices his dog barking at him strangely. When he looks in the mirror, he realizes he's completely invisible. Only his robe can be seen. Panicked, he quickly throws on full-body clothing. His mom walks in but doesn't notice him, confirming that no one else can see him. Michelle scribbles a note saying he went to school early and leaves it behind. At school, he watches Stella from a distance. Then, seeking revenge on his bully, he strips down and sneaks into the school while invisible. He uses the bully's paintball gun to shoot a teacher, getting the bully in trouble. Then, things take a darker turn. Michelle sneaks into the girls' changing room to watch them undress. However, a towel lands on him, revealing his outline. As his powers fade, he becomes visible again, causing the girls to scream in shock. The next day, during a guest lecture from a psychologist named Basili, who's discussing teenage mental health, Michelle's hands start to disappear again. He quickly rushes out of class and back home, only to find his little sister, Candela, in his room. He tells her to leave without turning around, but Candela tricks him by staying and watches in horror as Michelle turns invisible. He calms her down and claims that the superhero costume gave him powers. Meanwhile, Giovanna continues investigating the missing kids. At home, Michelle overhears her on the phone, revealing something that shakes him. He was adopted. Upset, he leaves and goes to a nearby park. While sitting on a swing, an unexpected visitor appears, Stella. She sees the swing moving and thinks a ghost is playing on it. Instead of being scared, she's intrigued and befriends the ghost. Michelle draws a smiley face in the sand to respond, and the two agree to meet again. Later that night, Michelle sneaks over to Stella's house. She's happy to see her invisible friend again, and the two share a kiss. But right then, Michelle starts becoming visible and quickly flees. Soon after, Stella is attacked by a tranquilizer dart while at gymnastics practice. Michel, on his way to tell her the truth, spots a masked man carrying her away. He tries to stop him, and even his dog bites the kidnapper's hand, but the man manages to escape with Stella. The police now realize the children haven't run away. They've been abducted. Stella wakes up in a strange facility with electrodes attached to her head. Basili, the psychologist, is revealed to be behind the kidnappings, and the children are being tested for special abilities. Meanwhile, Michel is approached by a blind man who knows all about him, without being told a thing. The man introduces himself as Andres, Michel's biological father. Michel doesn't believe him at first, but Andres shares a shocking backstory. He's from a Russian town where a nuclear explosion mutated people's DNA, giving them superpowers. These specials were exploited by a military group called the Division. Only Andres and his wife could have children, and Michel was their son, the first special child. To protect him, they fled the Division. Michel's mother was killed during their escape, so Andres left baby Michel at Giovanna's doorstep after reading her mind and determining she was kind. Now, the Division is back and abducting children to locate the special kid, Michel. Andres gives Michel a new suit that turns invisible along with his body. They're interrupted by police arriving, called by a suspicious fisherman. Andres wipes the man's memory and disappears. Among the officers is Basili, who now suspects Michel is the special child. Giovanna confirms Michel is adopted. Basili offers to drive him home, but Michel notices a familiar injury on Basili's hand, the same one bitten by his dog. Realizing Basili was the kidnapper, Michel escapes using his invisibility. He jumps onto his bully Ivan's bike and asks for help. Ivan agrees, and after reaching safety, Michel reveals everything to him. At the same time, Stella and her friends try to escape the facility. She finds a spotlight and uses it to send a message to Michel, drawing a smiley face with the light. Michel sees it and rushes to her location with Ivan. After sneaking into the facility, Michel sees his parents being monitored. He frees the captured kids and reveals himself. When Stella insists on rescuing another prisoner, she leads Michel into a trap. The old man in the cell turns out to be the real villain. He has mind control powers and has been manipulating both Basili and Stella. He captures Michel and Stella and sends them away in a submarine. Luckily, Giovanna and Andres show up just in time to rescue the remaining children and escape before the facility explodes. Andres reads Basili's mind and confirms he was being controlled. In the submarine, Michel discovers a new ability, telekinesis. Using his powers, he defeats the guards and escapes with Stella. Back on land, a crowd gathers. Michel goes invisible in front of everyone, proudly revealing his abilities. Andres explains that they must erase everyone's memory to keep Michel safe. After one final kiss with Stella, Michel agrees, and Andres wipes everyone's memory before disappearing. The movie ends in Russia, where we find out that Michel's mother is actually alive. She's taken over the Division and is plotting against ordinary humans who treated specials like monsters. A guard informs her that although Michel escaped, they've located his twin sister Natasha, who's currently in Morocco. A flashback reveals that Andres fled with 2 babies, not just one, and that's where the story ends, clearly hinting at a sequel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more movie recaps. Thanks for watching.